Victor sound.
Yeah, yes. Video is on, miss.
Victor sound.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Carry on.
Good afternoon, all. See, I'm very happy to join you all on this auspicious occasion of the celebration of International Youth Day. As you all know, that this year's theme is Youth Engagement for Global Action. It focuses on the ways in which the engagement of youth at local, national, and global levels in enriching national and multilateral institutions. And it is, we all know it's the time of COVID-19 pandemic, and it is believed that youth and young people, they can form a key element in an inclusive recovery from this pandemic. I wish my best wishes to all students of the Department of Chemistry. And I'm very happy to see that the department has come up with a very good program to commemorate this day, because we are having an international discourse on a journey to success through the untaken road of hardships by Dr. Amit Kumar from the University of St.Andrews, North Hague. I'm very happy to welcome Dr. Amit Kumar to this program. And I would like to tell you that we have a vibrant group of students in our degree course at the Department of Chemistry. And what we need is a real motivation for these youngsters. And I think you are the right choice who can motivate our students from your career by giving us a brief outline of your journey to success through the untaken road of hardships. I think this is a very good, I am sure that this will actually motivate all students of the Department of Chemistry. I wish the program all success. I hope more students will join in this webinar. Till now, only 66 have joined Remya. You should see that other students also join this group. It's a one-hour program. We should not lose time. I wish the more students will be benefited from this discourse, and I wish the program all success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. In this day, I am proudly presenting before you a worthy personality, Dr. Amit Kumar, a scientist as well as an academician who have produced outstanding achievements in the field of chemistry. I think Anubha teacher is the right person to introduce him before you, as I met Dr. Amit through her. I welcome Dr. Anubha ER to introduce Dr. Amit. Anubha teacher.
Okay. Respected Principal Dr. Veena Reddy, Head of the Department Dr. Adita, dear Amit, my dear colleagues. It is very pleasant duty in my life to introduce Dr. Amit Kumar before you. When I met with Amit in 2018, is it audible? Okay. It is
Sure.
very
Speaker.
to introduce Dr. Amit Kumar before you. When I met with Amit in 2008, he was just 18 to 19-year-old boy who joined our research lab in a summer fellowship project under Dr. G. Vijay Nair at the NIST Trivandrum. Sir vested the responsibility for to guide Amit to me, and really I felt it as a challenge to me. He was just a first year student of integrated MSc course at IIT Roorkee, and hadn't much exposed to basic chemistry theory and practicals at that age. But in that age, he surprised me with his hardworking nature, and he worked in our laboratory from PM, more than this time. And he had each and every step that we follow in our laboratory. In order to answer his queries, I have to refer books. And I think he had studied the concepts of chromatography and NMR in that age itself. In the next year also, Amit joined our group. And in the next year, in his third year, he joined IIT Bombay. And in his fourth year, he was selected for prestigious DAD fellowship. And he joined did his MSc project at Germany in the fifth year. That means he completed his integrated MSc course in 2012 from IIT Roorkee with a silver medal for academic excellence. By this time, he was selected for Rhodes Fellowship by Oxford University. He was among 84 students worldwide, and he was among 4 Indian students who secured this prestigious fellowship in various fields. And all the newspapers covered the news. And now I remember the title. Bihari boy won the prestigious Rhodes Fellowship. And like that. He joined for his DPhil at Oxford University under the guidance of Professor Andrews Weller in the area of synthetic organometallic chemistry, and it developed rhodium and iridium catalysts for the dehydrocoupling of amine boranes. Amit was awarded PBC fellowship for his postdoctoral fellowship in Israel, and there he was promoted to senior postdoc fellow, and he was awarded the FGS prize for the outstanding achievements in postdoctoral research. There he developed new green and sustainable catalytic processes based on dehydrogenation and hydrogenation reaction. In 2020, Amit Kumar joined as an independent academic at the School of Chemistry at the University of St.Andrews, UK. Really, when I proposed the name Amit as a resource person in this youth day, there were no picture other than that 18 to 19 years old boy who could perform excellent in his field of study. And I am proud of Amit. And as a teacher, I consider this moment as a gift to me. In this moment, I can't leave this session without mentioning about my husband Joyson, because he had a special consideration about Amit. And he would told me that Amit can create wonders in his life, and he is an asset to our nation. Now let us listen Amit, and I invite Dr. Amit Kumar to join this gathering and share your experiences.
Thank you, Anavachechi. This is indeed a really wonderful and remarkable introduction that you just delivered, and thank you for this. I'm also very pleased and honored to be here. Let me share my presentation. I hope I can. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's good. So you can see your presentation title, right? Hello, can you see the presentation title?
Yes, Amit.
Yes.
All right,
Clear.
perfect. So let me start today's presentation first by congratulating and thanking all the organizers who took the initiative to organize this wonderful celebration on the International Youth Day. And thank you very much for inviting inviting me. It's been real pleasure and honor. This is quite an unusual talk for me because usually I would just talk about science in all the lectures. But this time, Anavachechi and Remia advised me that perhaps I can share some of these stories from my journey that I took to be an academic, and perhaps this can motivate new generation, give some lessons that I learned could be useful to youngsters of of our nation. So here it is. So when I was studying during IIT or even in Oxford, I always saw my friends, my Indian friends, coming from different states, from West Bengal, from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and I always wondered, where are the students from Bihar? Because there were very, very little, even in IITs and even in Oxford. And then I always wondered, where do they go? What do they study? And once upon a time in a vacation, I saw in my hometown a train like this, which was fully crowded with people. And I was surprised because this was no vacation time. This was no wedding season, no festival season. So I asked someone why the train is so crowded. And then I got the answer that it's always like this. The trains are always crowded. This is the train that goes from Saharsa, which is my hometown, to Amritsar. And it's basically the train filled with labor class people who just go and work there. And then I realized that, a lot of youth from my state, where do they go? I mean, this is not all, because of course, people from Bihar also do a lot of great things, but a lot of people are there. That's the truth. And I don't want to go into socio-political debate. I just want to tell you my background, because I also grew up in the neighborhood where I would see that, my extended relatives or somebody from my neighborhood would just go into this labor market. And as a kid, I was always afraid of this. And I never wanted to go in that direction. And my parents also were quite aware of it. And me and my parents and everybody knew that the education is the only hope to survive. Education is the only hope in which we can lift up our lifestyle and not go in the conventional direction that a lot of people in the neighborhood were going. And my parents knew that I have to be educated really well from my childhood, and there were not really great schools in my hometown, so they decided to send me to good schools. And there were two options. Either they send me to really fancy schools in big cities like Delhi and Bombay, but this was too expensive, and back then the economical situations were not so great that we could afford it. So the other option was to prepare for some of the competitive exams for the semi-private or government schools, which were also quite good. For example, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya or Sainik School or Netrahat School. So when I was around 8 or 11, my parents made me write a lot of competitive exams, made me prepare for those exams, and I failed. I failed in all the entrance examination of all the good schools where my parents wanted to send me. So I was a little disappointed. I was disappointed not because I failed in, because back then I didn't care, right? I didn't care about whether I pass in the exam or fail. I was disappointed because my parents were disappointed. They were thinking that I am not so good enough because kids in the neighborhood all passed that exam. So of course it makes a difference. So one day in my class, I was looking a little sad. So the teacher asked me, "Why are you sad?" And then I told him, because I failed in this exam. And he told me something which I still remember and which I think was very important. And he told me that, if you failed in the exam, then it doesn't mean that that's it. It only means that maybe you will go to a better school. Maybe you will have a better path that's meant for you. And this is something that I want to tell to all of you, all the undergrads, master students today, that if you apply for something, if you write an exam, and if that doesn't happen as you expected, then please don't be disappointed. because it only means that better things are going to work for you. Because whenever I fail, better things happen with me. So I feel that, life is like this. So don't get disappointed. And back then, I didn't have this wisdom. So I was disappointed. And I feel that even my parents didn't have this wisdom. Because of this, my parents were also disappointed. So my parents thought that, I'm not so good enough to, so they don't want to put so much money on my education. So they put me to the government schools in Bihar because it was like almost free. But unfortunately, back then in Bihar, in the government schools, there were no classes. But they had to show on the paper that, they are taking classes and students are coming to the schools and they are passing the exams. So how did they used to give us attendance in the class? They used to call us in the rainy season when there will be a lot of grass and bushes in the school field. And they would ask us to pluck all the grass and bushes and make a pile of it. And whoever's pile is bigger, that person will get more marks in the exam, or that person will get more attendance. So that was fun. That's how back then was the government schools in Bihar. But then we used to go to all the coaching classes and take private tuition to study. And then slowly, gradually, I reached to the class 10th board. And 10th board is important because your future education, like the admission to college, would depend on your marks of the 10th board. And I was in the Bihar board. So higher schools like 11th, 12th, or the colleges was even more expensive because it means that I had to go to bigger city like Patna or somewhere else, because in my hometown Saharsa, the college or 11th, 12th was not so great. So it means that money needs to be invested on me. Money needed to be invested on me. So my dad only wanted to invest on me if he would feel that I am good enough or I would do something. So he told me that you have to get more than 80% exam in my board. And in Bihar board, getting more than 80% was quite difficult. Only 10 or 20 people in the entire state will get more than 80% marks. And you have to be like really the topper of the board. So here I learned two things. The first thing that I learned that, there are a lot of money in the world and people would invest money on you only if you show that you are, worth it. Like everybody wants to bet money on the horse he or she thinks is going to win. So you just have to prove your worth, and somebody will be there to, support your study, support your research, or even support your business ideas. If you have any, startup ideas and you need money, you just have to, prove your potential. This is what I learned then. And then I knew that, if I do well in this exam, I, can go to really good schools. But then I have two fear, like really doubts whether I can do it, even if I study hard for my exams or not. The first one that I used to see in exams that, everybody will do cheating, like everybody will come with their notes and then write in the exam. So I had this fear that if everybody is just writing by notes in the exam, how am I going to be the topper, because everybody will have all the answers written, or even if somebody who has not studied is going to score great marks. I mean, this is not something hidden. It was all over media, I think, a few years ago, and I saw it. So this was really fear for me, because I had to prove myself, because this was the question for my survival, for my future studies. And the second fear that I had was the rumor of corruption that I grew up listening to from my friends, relatives, from from watching movies, reading in the newspaper. And there were a lot of rumors that if you want to get good scores in the exam, you have to pay a bribe to somebody who is marking your exam papers, or someone who is well connected in the government. And I had no such connection. Neither I had money for such kind of things. So I was like really skeptical that even if I study hard, can I really get what I want to get? But then I had no other choice rather than studying hard and leaving everything to my fate. And shockingly and gratifyingly, I did all those things. And when the result came, I had scored 83% mark. which was great, without without cheating, because I just knew all the answers, so there was no point in it, or without any kind of corruption. So this was really a life-changing moment for me, because this time, for the first time, I restored my faith in the system. I really believed that if I work hard, I will get what I deserve. And I would really want you to take this lesson from me, that if there is a rumor that is distracting you to achieve your goal, please don't pay attention to it. You must remember that if you're working hard, your hard work will pay off, and you will be rewarded for it. So anyway, I went to I got admission to really good college, which was the best college in Bihar, in Patna, and then I studied 11th and 12th. And then when I was studying 11th, 12th, someone in my neighborhood qualified for IIT-JEE exam. And then he advised my parents that I must be sent to Kota, which is a city in Rajasthan, which is famous for coaching classes for IIT-JEE. And he advised my parents that I should be sent there to study. And so my parents did that, because now they saw that I can do well. So they had kind of a little bit faith in me. So they invested a little bit more money and their time and effort, and then they sent me to this Bansal classes, Kota. I stayed there for one year, or a little less than 1 year. But this 1 year of my life, I have worked the hardest of my life. I never worked as hard as I did, and the teachers there were quite great. And they had a system that every month there will be a test, and based on your test you will get score, and you will be ranked, and based on your rank your batch will change, and then the teachers will also according to your batch. So everybody just wanted to score high so that they can all be in the higher batches. And what happened that in the beginning I was doing quite well, I was in the top batches, but later, as final exam kept coming closer, my rank started deteriorating, and I started performing really bad, and then I got like super stressed, and I thought, like, really I can't do it now. I was very depressed. And then one day I called my parents. Back then there was like normal landline call, and I tell them that sorry, I don't tell them anything. They were in a wedding, and then I just start crying on the phone, because I just couldn't tell anything. I was just so stressed. So my parents thought, okay, there's something wrong, and they were listening to all the stories of students committing suicides for preparing for IIT-JEE or even in IITs. So they just take the next train, come to Kota, and then they see that I'm living a terrible life, and I have my walls of my room is filled with all the chemical equations or mathematical formulas, because I would just want to lie on my bed and want to revise all the equations simultaneously, because I just don't want to waste my time to flip through pages. They also saw that my room is filled of biscuit wrappers, because that's what I would eat for a lot of time, because I didn't want to waste my time going to get food and eating it. So, well, this was really bad that I was doing. So my mother decided to stay with me, and she provided some mental support and some good food. That was really helpful, I guess. So finally, I qualified IIT-JEE exam, and I reached IIT Roorkee. So basically, in IIT-JEE, at that time, there used to be 5,000 seats in 2007. Now I think there are like more than 10,000 seats. So, depending on your ranks, basically you have to go through a process called counseling, and your batch and your department, like what engineering course you will study, were provided. And everybody who wants to write IIT-JEE or qualifies for IIT-JEE wanted to be an engineer. And I also wanted to be an engineer. And that's why I wrote IIT-JEE. But unfortunately, my rank was not so great. It was 4,089. So basically, out of 5,000, I was in a really lower category. So I didn't get engineering courses that I wanted to. So I had to basically choose chemistry. But then there was one last hope. And you see, everybody in my class, there were like 10 students in my class who were studying integrated MSc chemistry. And everybody took chemistry because they could not take engineering. But there was still one hope to study engineering. Because in IITs, those who come from ITJ entrance, in their first year, everybody studies the same course. So it doesn't matter if you are, if you have the department of chemistry or physics or maths, you will be studying, computer science, electronics, electrical engineering, all sort of different engineering courses. And at the end of your first year, there will be the final exam, and based on your CGPA, or let's say performance of your first year, the topper of your batch will have an option to choose any branch that you want. So everybody thought that this is our last hope to be an engineer, and one of us can now change our branch from chemistry to anything that we wanted. So we all of us were trying and working hard for it. So here I want to tell you a little bit story of Yamuna. So we were 10 students in our class, 2 girls, 8 boys, and Yamuna was one of the girls. And so we all were competing, as I mentioned. We all were competing, so that we could change our branch. And this is something very interesting, that when you go to a class, you will see that there will be some students who are asking a lot of questions, who you think that they are quite smart, and there will be some who you think that don't care about anything. They'll be sitting at the last bench or last corner, or or at the end of the corner, and you think that they are dumb or not so smart. This is what we thought of Yamuna, because Yamuna was she would be like, I don't care about all these things, and she would be like interested more in sports, doing all the kind of athlete race, participating in race, and she would be like involved in all the extracurricular activities. She would come to the class late. She even missed the exams. So we thought that Yamuna is out of the game. I think she loves chemistry, so she doesn't want to be an engineer. But the shocking thing for all of us was that when the final year result came out, Yamuna had outbeaten all of us. And there I learned very important lesson, that based on what you see or what you know, don't judge or underestimate others, because you just don't know the hidden potential of anyone. And this is true for yourself as well. You might think that somebody is very smart because he has done all these things, and I'm not so good because I haven't done anything, or I don't look like that. You just don't know what you are capable of doing. So never underestimate yourself, never underestimate or never judge even others, because this is what happened with me. And from the story of Yamuna, I learned that anyone can do just anything and can beat the entire range of expected opportunities. So right, so here now the first year is finished. Now I know that I have to study chemistry, and now there's no point in going to engineering because there's no chance. So I thought, right, now if I have to study chemistry, let's just do it really well. Now let's let's be a good chemist. And it's not that I hated chemistry. I loved chemistry. Basically, I loved everything: physics, chemistry, and maths, and all the engineering courses. I just loved studying, and I liked everything. I never hated any of the subjects. So I thought, okay, let's learn a little bit more about chemistry. So here I got very interested in research, and I started going for the summer internship. And the first summer internship I did at St.Andrews in 2008, where, as Anubha mentioned, I met her. And here I got really interested in research, because I met like a lot of extraordinary PhD students. And our guide, Vijan Iyer, he was also amazing, and looked like very knowledgeable, and amazing guide. He was very supportive as well. So your first internship or your first experience is quite important in paving your path. So I felt like this first summer research experience, this was my first research experiences. It made quite an impact in my life to choose the path of research. And then next year I come back again, and then I went to Germany, then Bombay, and then also Paris in my final year. So I got really interested in research. And here in 2011, this is my pre-final year, and I am really planning. Here I want to plan for my PhD. So right, with all the summer internship, I got interested in the area of organometallic catalysis. And so so what happens, like in my fourth year, I'm taking a course on organometallic chemistry, and the course is taught on like most of the course content was palladium catalyzed cross coupling reactions. And very interestingly, what happens that just after a couple of weeks that we have studied all these reactions, we hear the news of the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 2010. And and this was awarded on the area of palladium catalyzed cross coupling reactions. So I was very excited because this was really the first time that I could understand the, the area in which a Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded. Because before that, whenever I would hear the news of Nobel Prize in Chemistry, I will have no idea of that field, and I will have no idea of its application, and I wouldn't understand why it's been awarded. So this was quite good, and I wanted to study it in more detail. And then I thought, okay, why don't write a review article on it? So just with my undergrad friend, I took help of my academic tutor, but he said he doesn't want to be on the paper, and just we wrote this review article, which was published online. And here, both of us are an undergrad. So as an undergrad, this is also, I want to tell you that, if you want to study something by yourself, you can also do it. You can write papers by yourself, also review articles, and it can be published. So by this, you can even learn more as well, and you can also boost up your profile. So so this is like around 2011, and this time I'm really interested in doing PhD in this field as well. So the general concept of doing PhD at that time was that you write the GRE application, and you get good score in GRE, and then you apply for PhD in the States. And I was very ambitious at that time, and then I wanted to do my PhD from the best places in the world. So I wrote GRE score. I wrote GRE exam, but unfortunately my GRE score was pretty low. So low that I thought that I wouldn't get admission to even top 20 or top 30 universities. So so it's like a major chunk of universities were out of my approach. So what do you do in this situation? So here I want to tell you that if you fail in something, it doesn't mean that you can't do that. You just need to try a different approach. So here I wanted to do PhD from a great university, from one of the best places, and I could not go to the United States. So I thought, okay, let's go to Europe, because Europe doesn't need GRE score, especially, they don't evaluate you on the basis of the GRE score. And there are some good universities like Oxford, Cambridge, and things like that. So why not, let's try that. And I came to know about this scholarship called the Rhodes Scholarship. And when I came to know about it, there were only 2 weeks left for its 2 weeks left for its deadline. And then I thought, okay, this very small amount of time, and the application process was quite complex because you had to get 6 recommendation letters. So arranging all the letters in 2 weeks, and then you had to write a statement of purpose, which was also could take time. However, I decided to take a chance, and I decided to do it. And I think that was the best decision of my life, that I thought, let's just try for this scholarship. And let me just share you my experience with the application process, because some of you are in undergrad, final year of undergrad or masters, and might be applying abroad for this kind of scholarship. So they had three steps for the selection. In the first step, they would do first round of screening, in which they will just check your CGPA and overall profile, and then they will call you for preliminary interview. And this preliminary interview was conducted in 4 different zones, like in Bombay, Kolkata, Delhi, and Bangalore. So I was in Delhi zone, because of course I was close to Delhi. So they called me for this preliminary interview. So I was surprised, basically, because when I read about this scholarship, it felt like it's so prestigious. Only 5 students in India from all different departments. That's like not just science, law, economics, music, literature, social sciences, philanthropy, medicine, science, engineering. So only 5 students would get, and it was like really prestigious prime ministers, presidents like Bill Clinton, and judges of Supreme Court, and every time there will be some celebrity. getting this scholarship, and I thought that I had no chance because I don't come from that background, neither I have any kind of celebrity looking profile. So I was so surprised to get a call for the preliminary interview. And when I reached to the interview session, there were 3 people, and they had all my profile, all my SOP, and they had thoroughly studied all the applications that I had sent to them. And the panel, I feel, was also decided accordingly. So one of the person was a chemist because he was asking a lot of questions. In my application, I wrote that I write poetry in Hindi, because one of the criteria of the Rhodes scholarship was that you, other than being excellent in academics, is that you should also be really good in one of the extracurricular activities. Like you have to be good in sports, or any kind of social activities. You have to be outgoing. So I wrote that I told them that my hobby is to write Hindi poems. So one of the interviewer comes out to be a Hindi poet, and he starts asking me, okay, tell me the poem of this person and this person. And I was like, I have no idea, because of course I haven't studied Hindi literature. So anyway, I did answer some of the good questions. I feel that but anyway, overall their response was quite bad, because they literally told me that you have nothing that that takes you to be the Rhodes Scholar, and I think that you have just wasted your time with all the internships and everything. So I thought, like, okay, I will not get this I will not move to the final stage. But again, it was surprising that I get a call for the final round of interview. So from all these zonal sections, 15 students are selected for the final round, and five students get this award. And again, in the final interview, everyone is called to Bombay, and then there is a dinner one day before the interview. So you get to meet all the panelists. You get to also meet all the other candidates. And the panelists were all the uh, pioneers of different fields. There was Ratan Tata was leading the chair, and then there was high profile business people. There were scientists, and there were lawyers, judges of Supreme Court, all in the academic panel for to judge us. And I was interviewed in the last I don't know, with that rating. And this time I was very well prepared for my interview, because I felt like my preliminary round was not so good. So I had already prepared all the poems and everything. And I feel, this time my interview was just normal talking and discussing, and I answered most of the question. And so they announced the award just half an hour after the final interview, on the spot, on the same day. And then there were 5 people to be awarded, and my name was in the last. I was the 5th one. So here also something happened. What happened that there was one candidate, I forgot his name, in the final round, and I felt that he's way more overqualified than me, and he's competing from the same field. So he was also from the chemistry, and he did his undergrad from Harvard, and he was doing his masters from Imperial College London, and then he had like 16 papers already published in his undergrad and masters. And he was also applying for a PhD in chemistry, and I was also applying for a PhD in chemistry. So like, they cannot give 2 PhD in chemistry out of the 5 Rhodes scholarships. So I was sure that he will get it and I will not. And so I was, but despite, I did not let this thought overcome my confidence, and I thought, okay, let's be confident and let's try. And then finally I got it, and he didn't get it. So that was also surprising. But one of the lesson here that I felt is very important to take is that don't underestimate yourself. And even if you think that someone is better than you and you are not so good enough, have confidence in you, because you just don't know what you can do. We all have so much of hidden, untapped, unexplored potential, that anything we can do, we can do wonders at any point in our life. And also, I would like you to, I would like to tell you here is that you must be open to explore new areas and new dimensions. And here you see that, as I have only 2 weeks left to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship, because I came to know about it at the last moment. If I would not have applied for it, thinking that there's not enough time, or thinking that, this is too tough, or I'm not good enough, I would not have been here today. So if you see an opportunity, just go for it, because as I said, you just don't know when you can do wonders. So here, then I reached Oxford. My time here was quite great. Other than doing research, I was involved in a lot of social activities, in the college administration, and so many things. And here, something that I want to share with you is the story of the Elvis. So what happens is, one fine evening with my research group members, we were sitting in a bar, because this was common culture, and we were drinking and eating, and somebody talks about Elvis Presley. And then I ask, who is Elvis? And everybody is surprised and shocked, and they thought that I'm just joking, that I don't know Elvis. And everybody's like, are you serious? Do you not know who is Elvis Presley? And I said that no. Comes out to be like he was a very famous singer, American singer, who was active in, around 1950s to 1970s or something like this time. And, his songs were very popular, and I didn't know about it. I had no clue about it. So I thought that maybe it's just me, because, I grew up listening to the songs of Kishore Kumar and Lata Mangeshkar. So I missed out Elvis. And perhaps because I'm from India. So I go to my Indian friends and ask them. They all know about Elvis. So I was like, really, what I have done in my life and where I was busy with, that I didn't know about Elvis. And then I thought maybe I was paying too much attention to chemistry, and I missed Elvis. And then I thought, all right, okay, if, I have been paying so much attention to chemistry, then let's just chemistry save my life. And let's focus on doing even more chemistry. So I started, paying more attention on research. And then here I want to share you something that my PhD supervisor told, is that, when you're doing PhD or when you are doing your research, there'll be a lot of times when you would not get result. And this is quite common, that you don't get results in research every day. And this becomes quite frustrating if you don't get results and don't, get what you expected. So my PhD supervisor told me that, research is like doing an HPLC or doing like a GC. So here is an HPLC or a GC chromatogram, whatever you want to call it. And here you see that, when the chromatogram starts, when you start running your sample, you will see there is no signal. There is no signal. And it means like there is no result, no result, no result, no result. And suddenly, a 2 minute, or let's say 2 years in the case of your PhD, you will get this whole bulk of result. So whenever the result comes, it comes in the bulk. And then for a lot of time, there will be no result. But when it will come in the bulk. So this is about also interesting thing about the research. When you do, it becomes frustrating when you don't get result. But remember that when the result comes in your research, it comes in the bulk. So you must have patience when when you are doing research, and you must have faith and know that when it comes, it will come in the bulk, and it will open new dimensions and new areas, and you can do a lot of things from that. But till that time, you will need to have faith, and you will need to have keep trying in that direction. So the analogy of PhD also fits well with the story of Chinese bamboo tree. Maybe some of you already know this story, but let me share you that when you plant the seed of Chinese bamboo tree, you have to keep watering it for 4 years. Until that 4 years, there is no growth. You don't see any germination. You don't see any plant. But you do have to keep watering it till 4 years. So it's quite frustrating, right? You don't see anything coming out, and you're just watering it. You will even forget where to water. So you have to make sure that you have made some kind of mark that here is the place where you have planted the seed, and you must water it. But after 4 years, you see that something is coming up, something has popped up. And shockingly, just in 6 weeks, this small little plant grows 90 feet tall. And it grows so fast that sometimes it grows 48 inch in 24 hours. And sometimes you can just even see it from your eyes growing it. So you see, till 4 years, it didn't do anything. And then just in 6 weeks after that, it just grows to be one of the tallest bamboo tree in the world. So what happened during these 4 years? Was it not growing at all? No, it was growing, but it was growing under the soil. It was, it was strengthening its root so that when it grows stronger, when it grows taller, its root can support it. So this is how also doing a PhD or doing a research is that for quite a lot of times you don't get any result and you think that I have not produced anything. But a lot of things that you have learned and the experiences that you have gained, that's going to, help you in your, later stage. And then you will see that you have produced a plethora of result or, achievements just in a small amount of time. Right. So here in my PhD also, I learned about power of networking that we will talk about later. And then after finishing my PhD, I moved to Israel. So you see, this was also an unconventional move because most of the time, people from Oxford, what I felt like, they just wanted to stay in UK, get a job or get settled down there. But for me, I just wanted to learn the best science. I wanted to be trained at the best lab, and that's how I moved to Israel and stayed there 4 years to learn from the pioneer of organometallic chemistry. So this move was totally driven by science. And since then, I've been doing, organometallic catalysis and science as well. So I realized that since majority of you, are in BSc or MSc, you must have been thinking about choosing a career in science or academia. And you might have been thinking that why should you go to science? And, why can't you just be a consultant or an investment banker or something that can definitely make you richer than being in academia. So for me, science, I think that I do science because it gives me an opportunity to solve challenging problems and make a difference in this world. And you see, science or academia is really at the forefront of our society. The entire planet rely on scientists to save us from any kind of crisis. For example, you see in COVID pandemic today, we all are looking up at scientists. We all are relying on scientists to develop effective drugs and effective vaccines so that we can have a normal life. So really, by doing science, by choosing a career in science, you have an opportunity to really make a difference on really large scale. So you do make a tiny little contribution, but this tiny little contribution makes a huge difference. So this is I think is a great reason to choose a career in science. And sometimes you would feel that, do you really have what it takes to be a great scientist? So what I felt, I jotted down few of the qualities that I think that should be needed, or if you have these qualities, I think that you can be a great scientist. First of all, you should be passionate about science, about doing science. You should love what you are doing, and I think this is true for all kind of job. If you love what you are doing, then you will be one of the best at it, and then you will do great. Second quality I think is perseverance, which is the quality to not give up, to keep trying hard as possible to achieve your goals. So I think this is also very important in science, because a lot of times you will fail, you will try so many times, 100 times, and things will not work as you expect. But then one time you will make tiny little change and it will make a big difference. Third is hard work in the right direction. So you see, everyone works hard, but those who work hard in the right direction, they get better success. So direction is also very important, and sometimes this direction comes from your supervisor, your mentor. So it's important to keep getting good advice from right kind of people. And then fourth quality that I think is important is critical thinking. You should be cynical about what's happening around, and if you have the quality of being cynical, I think you can make a great scientist, because in science you have to keep asking questions, question the hypothesis, the data, and make sure that it suits well with your evidence and facts and previous hypotheses. So critical thinking, critical analysis is quite important. And fifth, I have put personal or leadership skills. And this is because a lot of people in science, in academia, think that scientists just need to be good in the knowledge, in their scientific skills. They just need to be good in writing papers. But that's not all about it. The great academics, the great scientists are also great leaders, because once you reach at higher level, you have to do a lot of leadership type of jobs. You have to manage a research group, which means you have to manage people like 10-20 people. You have to manage your research funding, so you have to be good in communication and networking. So all those kind of skills that you can gather now as an undergrad and masters, and you will also have some time to gain these skills in your PhD. Those skills are really valuable. And so those people who are organizing events, you learn these skills from all those things. And I feel that it really helps in building any kind of career, and definitely also in science. Here you see I have not put smartness, because I don't think that you need to be really too smart to do science. Well, a little bit of smartness is needed for all kind of job, but if you have all these qualities, I think that you can be a great scientist. So now the other thing that I thought is that since many of you would have been thinking to go for PhD or other higher studies, it is important to tell you, because I was not really quite aware of this thing when I started applying for PhD, is that now chemistry is totally changed. Earlier, 50 years ago, the chemistry used to be just physical, organic, and inorganic, and this is basically also is our textbook models that we are taught. But now, with the advent of new technology, with the advent of new tools like spectroscopic tools or microscopic tools, and so many other techniques, chemistry has incorporated so many other subjects in it. It has become broad, diverse, and interdisciplinary. For example, biology. Chemistry has now become an integral part of biology. So you have biophysical chemistry, bioorganic chemistry, bioinorganic chemistry, because you see a lot of chemical reactions are occurring in biology, in living body. And with the advent of all the new tools, now we can study all those chemical reactions that are occurring in biology. We can target drugs accordingly. We can develop sensors to detect disease, or to detect any deformation in live cells, in living systems. So a lot of applications in healthcare. So chemistry is not just limited to physical, organic, inorganic. A lot of biology is being involved. And then second is also a lot of materials and physics is being involved in chemistry. So you can develop new kind of robust, reliable, light material, whatever you want. It's got a lot of applications in construction, building houses, building roads, devices. You have this LCD technology, OLED, all kind of display technology. They have all the organic small molecules to it. And today I'm using MacBook. It has got all the display technology where there are a lot of chemistry happening. So any kind of electronic devices, sensors, these again have applications in healthcare. So a lot of materials and physics have been being incorporated in chemistry. And then third, what I feel is computation is also being knowledge of computer science, programming, and coding is also being quite involved in chemistry. So this not just let you understand the mechanism of a process. It's got a lot of application. For example, let's say for COVID drug, you have to screen 2,000 drugs. These are the potential candidates. If you personally, by doing experiments, if you are going to screen all the 2,000 drugs, it's going to take you a lot of time. But by computational analysis, you can just eliminate and then make sure that out of these 2,000, only 20 would be more effective. So computation has also become quite integral part of chemistry. So I just want you to keep this in mind, that you can basically go in any direction, and you don't have to depend yourself on choosing the field that's related to physical, organic, inorganic, and even in masters, even if you have done masters in organic chemistry, it doesn't stop you from, doing computational or doing anything related to materials or physics. So you just have to see whether your interest lies, what kind of problems you want to solve, and you can go in any, you can go in that direction. So here I want to briefly mention that, I told that I learned about networking and collaboration in my PhD. And I want to tell you why these are so important, because I just mentioned that, the chemistry has become so much interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. So you can only know a little bit, in your area. For example, you can know either more chemistry or biology, but, you can collaborate with people from biology. And I want to give you an illustrative example to explain why networking and collaborations are very important. Like, this is a circle, and imagine that all the area that's, that the circle incorporates, this is all the knowledge and training that you need to solve a major societal problem. For example, let's say that a major societal problem is that you want to get rid of the plastic pollution. So you would not just need science, like several aspects of science. You would also need engineering. You would need expertise from environmental sciences or environmental studies. You will need economists. You will need policymakers. You will need business people who will make sure that, whatever model you have made is profitable. You will also need politics, people from support from the government to implement it. So if you want to really solve a societal problem, you need a lot of expertise. And how can you get a lot of expertise? Possibly not, right? Like, so imagine that this entire area of the circle is the knowledge that you, or the training or expertise that one would need to solve a problem of plastic pollution. And here is this much of knowledge that you have gained through your elementary school. And then you go to your high school and you gain some more knowledge. And then you are doing your BSc, you have gained this much of knowledge to solve any problem. And in your final year of BSc, you get a little bit of more specification, which is in the direction of solving this problem. And then you do your MSc, which means that you get even more specific knowledge in the direction of solving the problem. And then you go for your PhD degree, read more research paper, and then you reach at the edge of solving this problem. Like, you are going in that direction and you have made an advancement and you have reached to the edge that, that can help you solve the problem. And finally, you have made an invention. And this is a dent in the circle. This invention is like, you can solve the problem. But you see, really, in order to solve it completely, this is what you can do. This much you can do by doing science, or doing doing science in your area of expertise. But you would need all these space that's blank in order to solve the problem, really. So you would need networking and collaborations for this purpose. And so that skills I would encourage you to have, because I feel that's very important when you reach to a higher level.
Any problem? Any problem, sir?
Just a second. I think that there is some problem in my slide. Sorry, just a second.
What happened, Amit?
Sorry, I missed my slides, so I'm downloading it again. Oh, okay. Anyway, I think, right, okay. So I can just tell you, I don't have the slides. I think I lost it somewhere, but right. So here, just I wanted to tell you, just there were a couple of more slides, and I wanted to tell you that how much chemistry has done to sustain our lives. Like, if you think like, about the applications of chemistry, and if you think, what are the main necessities of our basic life today is, the first thing is food, and then your clothes, and then your shelter, and then healthcare. And chemistry play major role and has played major role in all those things. For example, if you think about food, then one of the most remarkable invention of modern times is Haber-Bosch process, which is reaction of nitrogen and hydrogen to make ammonia. Now this ammonia, which comes from Haber-Bosch process, is used to make fertilizer, and this fertilizer goes to plant, and then plant absorbs this fertilizer and then grows and take all the nitrogen from this fertilizer, and then we eat all this plant. So in our body, around half of the nitrogen, 50% of nitrogen that's in our body, that nitrogen comes from Haber-Bosch process. And the data estimate shows that if there would not have been Haber-Bosch process, the world population would have been only 4 million, or less than, or like around 3.5 million. And at the moment, we have more than 7 million population of the world. So this is the impact that chemistry is playing for food. And then similarly, clothes, if you see, we have 7 billion people and we need enough clothes for all of them. 65% of fabric are synthetic, which is like polyester or nylon or all the, polymer that again comes from chemistry. And similarly, in the case of medicine, the world, we have, the organic synthesis or, biochemistry with the, with all these collaborations. We have made, thousands of drugs that are saving our lives. For example, one of the remarkable discovery was penicillin that was done from, that was accidentally discovered by a Scottish chemist, but then it was really the organic chemist that made the synthesis possible so that we could manufacture it in such a large quantity. And today, millions of people's lives are being saved because of that. And even for COVID-19, there are like, at least 3-4 small molecular drugs that have been being possible because of organic chemistry. So chemistry is really important in sustaining our lives, and chemistry is being seen as, as future for sustaining our life in future. For example, today's world's some of the most important challenges are to access clean energy, to access good health, to make our planet safer and more cleaner. And chemistry is going to play important roles in all of these things. So I just want to end this session on a note that there is a lot of untapped, unexplored opportunities in chemistry. These opportunities are waiting for all of you. So I would encourage you all to take the opportunity to do science, to do chemistry, and to solve these problems. Thank you.
So really, our students are lucky to have this wonderful talk. And I feel jealous of you, sir, really. And I thank Anapa teacher for introducing you in this special day. Really, I become wondered to have such a nice talk. And students, it's your time. You just ask any questions, or you may give feedback to him orally. It's also will be an.
Sure.
You take this opportunity to ask questions regarding your further steps. Anybody? Your time.
Hello? Hello?
It's Shaheen.
Is it audible?
Yes.
Sir.
First of all, thank you, sir, for this wonderful session.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to ask you, as you know that you said you had done your PhD abroad, so what's your opinion about doing PhD in India?
Well, I mean, you can do PhD anywhere. I'm sure that in India also there are a lot of great places and a lot of great faculties. And the most importantly is to choose your area properly and find a supervisor which is compatible with your thoughts, which is compatible with your work of style, because you must know this thing. Something that I didn't know, I would like to tell all of you that for PhD, your PhD supervisor becomes very, very important. more than the university or the institute where you are, your PhD guide is very important. And some PhD guides have their different way of style of working. For example, some PhD guide will ask you to come, morning 8 a.m. and work till 8 p.m. Or someone will give you a lot of freedom. So it's important that you know all these things in the beginning and you choose your supervisor accordingly. So the place and the university really doesn't matter too much for PhDs and postdocs. And so your research area and the supervisor, so I would encourage you to choose it accordingly. So yeah, anywhere in India you can do it. There are a lot of great places now for sure, with new ICERs and new IITs, and a lot of great people are there. So yeah, for sure. Does that answer my question? Does it answer your question?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I guess there is no more question. So you are muted, Remya.
Sorry. Hello?
Yes.
We don't have anybody have further questions? You can give him an feedback. I am sure you all enjoy it very much.
Well, anyway, if you don't want to ask now, you can always email me. And Remya and Anvachechi has my phone number. You can also call me on WhatsApp, and I'm always happy to help you or guide you for PhD application or for any query that you might have. So you can also do that. That's not a problem.
Okay. Then I invite our dearest HOD, head of the department, Ajit the teacher, for delivering the vote of thanks.
Good evening, all. Amazing. That's the only word which I can express in this concluding session. Amit, it's a delightful day for us. Our choice of resource person has not gone wrong. You have done your work in a most appreciable way. Thank you very much. The Department of Chemistry has given the students a golden opportunity to converse the most distinguished youth in chemistry on this youth day. See, when you listen to him, it's clear that he has not taken any shortcuts. Dear students, Amit has proved anything can be achieved if you are determined and learn for it. So students, on this day, please take certain drastic decisions and tune your life accordingly. Thank you, Amit, for being with us and motivating our students. Your story of Yamuna, your growth of bamboo tree, we'll never forget these words. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. It's my honor to be here.
I also extend my thanks and gratitude to Annabha for introducing such a great resource person on this youth day. Thank you, participants. Thank you for the patient listening. And we are always happy to associate with you in future of the department. And one more comment, continue your efforts. And we strongly believe that you will bring more laurels to this subject chemistry, perhaps the Nobel Prize after 10 to 20 years. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all.